Hi guys, this is Lalana. Thanks for tuning into the Sovereign Path. So today I'm going to do a three video part series of the three different stages that twin flames go through. So today I'm going to do stage 1, and I'm going to have all of the signs that typically would fall under stage 1 to know if you are on a twin flame path and if you're a twin flame. Then I'm going to do another video for the stage 2 signs, and lastly I'm going to do the stage 3 and final signs for twin flames on this path. So this first video is going to be a little bit longer potentially than the last two, because there are a lot of things that go on in the initial stages for the twin flame dynamic. So bear with me on this. I have everything written down over here on my left so I don't forget things. If I leave something out, feel free to leave it in the comments below. If your experience is slightly different than this, that's completely fine. These are not all inclusive lists. There are certain things that some people will experience that other people won't. This is unique, right? So each twin flame dynamic is unique. There are things that happen on this path that are going to be the same for every single twin on the path, but at the same time, this is each a unique dynamic within the one unified field. So there are going to be some anomalies, okay? So the first sign within the first stage of a twin flame dynamic to know that you are on a twin flame path and potentially that you are a twin flame is that this is going to be a romantic connection. So that's pretty vague in regard to, of course, anybody that you meet and start dating or have a romantic connection with could fall into this category. And this is a lot of times where we get things mixed up when we see all the twin flame signs and stages, and a lot of them fall into a soulmate category and a lot of them fall into a karmic category. So I'm going to do my best in this video to really break down each of these so that you can see the difference between the twin, the soulmate, and the karmic. And so these signs and stages don't sort of confuse you or sort of overlap or make you wonder if potentially this is a soulmate or a karmic and not a twin flame. So that being said, this is going to be a romantic dynamic, a romantic connection that you are going to have with this person, and it is going to be mutual. This isn't going to be any sort of limerence situation. It's not going to be one-sided. It's not going to be a situation where you sort of met somebody and you were really attracted to them, but it never manifested into anything. This is going to be a situation where you know that this person is also romantically interested in you. And so even if it's not physical initially, the romantic interaction is always going to be there initially in the beginning of this journey. So the other thing about this is that for a lot of twins, prior to meeting their twin flame in the physical, there are going to potentially be signs. So there could be repeating numbers. You continue to see the same number sequence, not necessarily 111 or 222 or 333, although those can certainly pop up, and they do for a lot of twins. These numbers that I'm specifically talking about will be specific to you and your twin. So potentially you could start seeing a certain number pattern that you're not sure what the significance of that number pattern is until you meet your twin. So it could be your birthdays repeating over and over, showing you that you're about to meet someone significant in your life. It could be other sorts of dates. It could be other sort of number sequences that have some sort of meaning between you and your twin that you're not sure of what that is because you haven't met them yet. But once you meet them, you'll be like, oh, that's why you were showing me these numbers for the last few months that I didn't really understand what any of these were meaning. So there can definitely be these just sort of guides that are guiding you to meet this person in several different ways. It's not only numbers, it can be other signs and synchronicities and coincidences, whatever is unique to be able to communicate with you, for your guides to be able to communicate with you, they're going to come through in that way. But it's very common for twins to have these sort of signs, repeating numbers, coincidences, synchronicities for a few months leading up to actually meeting their twin flame in the physical. It's like a preparatory situation that's sort of saying, okay, we're gearing up to be ready to come into this dynamic. So that's the second sign that a lot of twin flames experience. The other one is upon meeting them, there is going to be voice recognition. And initially, it's not necessarily that you're going to be like, oh, you know, I recognize your voice, or oh, I've heard that voice before. Some people do feel that. It's like there's a resonance or an alignment or a hum that is familiar on some way that you can't quite touch. So it's not necessarily something that the mind is going to register as, oh, you sound like this person, or oh, I kind of remember that voice, or it's going to be a soul resonance. It's going to be a hum. It's going to be something that's going to trigger in both your heart chakra and your throat chakra, right? There is going to be this absolute hum and vibration and this alignment of, like I say, it's a knowing, it's a familiarity, and it's a recognition that you don't exactly recognize, but at the same time, you know something, like something you know is going to happen within you when you hear their voice. I don't know how else really to explain that. And even as I like try to explain all these things, anyone who's on the twin flame path will know there's only so far that we can go in regard to explaining what this is, because this is an energetic connection, right? It's not even a connection. This is your same self incarnate here, experiencing itself and helping it to ascend out of the third dimensional reality. So this is coming from your soul essence. And so trying to explain the soul essence and the quantum mechanics and the quantum field through the mind and through the ego, things just don't translate in the same way that they're going to be translated in the higher dimensions. So when I say things like you're going to feel it or you're going to know it, anybody that on the twin flame path understands that it's because certain things that we just can't put into words, that there is no words for them. You become speechless at some point on this path, and this is certainly one of them. That recognition of the voice, that hum, that bass, that vibration of the voice is going to trigger some sort of familiarity within you that's going to kind of take you off guard. And you're not going to really understand that, like I say, because it's going to be something that's filtered through the mind and through the ego. So the next sign that we're going to get into is similar to the vibration of the voice, and that is when you look into your twin flame's eyes. So this sounds crazy, but if you are a twin flame, you will have experienced this before. And that is that when you look into your twin flame's eyes, you are going to see source. You're going to see the universe. You're going to see God. You're going to see an otherworldly essence that you have not looked at or seen for however many lifetimes that you've been incarnating in the 3D and dealing with the mind and the ego and separation. And you're going to have this sense of, it's actually this feeling of kind of, whoa. It's like you're falling into the abyss on some level. But it's the abyss that you're being held. It's a recognition. It's coming back home when you look into your twin flame's eyes. So you see your reflection in them. You see source in them in a way that will really sort of take you back, because even though this will continue on through your twin flame journey, we're talking about the first stage. We're talking about upon meeting this person and not knowing who they are. And suddenly you're like recognizing their voice. It's familiar in some way. I've never met this person. What's the deal? Now I'm looking into their eyes and I feel like I'm like falling into into God on some level, or into source, or into universe, into this infinite, all-being sort of nurturing, holding space. And the ego doesn't make sense of that. It doesn't know what that is. But on a soul level, on an intuitive level within you, you are again recognizing yourself. You are recognizing source in your twin, in their eyes and in their voice. It is a familiarity of belonging. It's this feeling of like it's almost an out-of-body experience. I can't even really explain what that is. It feels like falling in a way, but not like in a bad way. It's like in a way that pulls you completely out of ego. It pulls you completely out of separation and out of the mind, and it puts you back in touch with your true essence for those few seconds that you're looking into their eyes. So this is a big one. This is something that you will not have experienced in your life or with anyone else. And it's a big, big sign that you are dealing with your same soul essence. And I just saw 11:11 on the clock when you look into their eyes. So these are some beginning aspects that happen with most twins. And, you know, they are these signs that are going to sort of put you in a place where you start wondering, who is this? Like, who did I just meet? What is this interaction? What's exactly going on here? And your ego on some level is going to try to shut that down, because your ego does not understand any aspect that is not moving from separation. It does not understand unity consciousness. It doesn't understand source. It doesn't understand creation, universe, God. It understands separation. It understands what it can comprehend through the mind. So there will be things going on in the very, very beginning stages of meeting a twin that are going to sort of put you out of your comfort zone in a way that you are trying to make sense of things that don't make sense to you, right? So going on to the next one is that your twin is not necessarily going to be your type, right? So this person, like, say you're always interested in, like, you know, people with dark hair and dark eyes. Well, your twin might have blonde hair and blue eyes, or red hair and green eyes, or whatever else. And so at first glance, or upon meeting them, you know, maybe they're shorter than the type of people that you usually date. Maybe they're taller than the type of people that you usually date. Those sort of things, just from a physical aspect, they're not necessarily going to be the type that you have dated in your past, right? So the point of this is to bring the unconditionality and the unconditional love to the forefront of this connection from the get-go. So what this is really doing, these first few signs are really doing, is saying, okay, wait, this person is actually not even really my type. I would never really go for them if I saw them like at a store, or if I, you know, met this person online or whatever. Like, maybe, maybe, but not really my type. But when I hear their voice, something in me clicks. And when I look into their eyes, something really otherworldly is going on here, right? So this is the aspect of the twin flame dynamic that you're not going to experience in any other relationship. Because this aspect is basically, as I said before, it's putting you face to face with source, universe, creation, God, all that is. And your twin is reflecting back to you all that is. And it is taking you out of ego. It is taking you out of the condition of ego that this person has to be 6'2", brown hair and brown eyes for me to date them. Or this person has to be, 5'5", blonde and blue-eyed, whatever it is. It is taking that aspect of you away and is saying, no, that's actually moving from separation. You're moving from a place that has been programmed within you and indoctrinated in you based on your past experiences and the things that you've learned in this reality. We are showing you, we as source, God, creation, universe, higher self, your entire guidance team, we are showing you that that's not how love works. that that's actually not what love is at all. It's this. It's unconditionality. It's oneness. It's unity. You know, it's all of these things that we have basically been abandoned from in the third dimensional reality for the soul's experience. It's not a negative thing. It's we chose to experience this. And so meeting your twin is going to start systematically yanking you out of those programs. From the get-go of meeting this person, this path is going to start yanking you out of the 3D programming, right? And these are big ones, right? Because if you're coming face to face with someone that you are feeling this intense, sudden bond with, that you can't make sense of, and now they're feeling familiar to me, I feel like I belong with them on some level, I'm looking into their eyes and I'm seeing like universe and myself reflected back to me, but they're not really my type. What the hell is going on here, right? Who is this? And that kind of question comes up a lot. You get overwhelmed with this emotion that you have not experienced before. And there is a draw to them that the ego can't make sense of, that the ego is still going to try to like dumb it down on some level, you know, and be like, oh no, but I didn't really see that. You know, I couldn't have seen that, you know, that, yeah, I mean, so their voice was kind of familiar, but doesn't mean anything. I mean, I couldn't have actually seen God in their eyes. That's ridiculous. So you're going to go through these almost immediately, these aspects of doubt. So it's going to be like there's a higher knowing where your higher self is guiding you, right? And intuitively you have this knowing, but your conditioning is going to be pulling you in the opposite direction. And the same thing is going to be happening for your twin flame. So the next aspect of this is going to be a heart chakra activation. And all of these things are going to be happening like in quick, boom, 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 boom. Like it's not like this happens this week and then this happens. It's like all of these things are going to start coming online within the very first meetings, you know, of your twin flame. Even if you're just speaking to them on the phone first, or even if you're just doing like FaceTime in the beginning and you haven't met them physically, you know, sitting next to you, but physically this way, these things are still going to start to be triggered. And these aspects of you are going to start to be coming into question, coming online. So heart activation is going to feel different in different people. A heart activation is when your chakra system is starting to basically awaken, for lack of a better way of saying that. And so your heart chakra specifically, when it comes back into resonance with its same self, right? Your twin is you. You share the same energetic system. You share the same chakra system. You have the same higher self. You have the same oversoul. This is you incarnate here. So you are going to activate each other at a heart level, at a recognition level. This can feel for some people like palpitations. And as I've said in all my videos, if you guys feel like you're having something that's going on that's medically concerning, please see a medical advisor. Do not take what I'm saying as, oh, if you have something going on with your heart that you need to see medical assistance, please do that. So heart activation, it can feel like palpitations. It can feel like skipping, like fluttering. It can feel hot. For me, when my heart chakra activated, it was in my back. It was the back of my heart chakra, and it would feel like it would just bloom, for lack of a better way of saying that. My whole heart chakra would just heat up, and it would feel like it was spreading out across my shoulder blades and all of my upper back. It would be like, whew. It was the strangest feeling. I had never experienced that before. And it was like a heated sort of vibration that I could feel in my heart chakra, in my back. And then I would have like these fluttering kind of feelings, you know, to the point where I was thinking like, is there something wrong with me, you know? And that's the other thing. In the beginning stages, when you're starting to have your awakening be triggered, there are going to be aspects that you're going to start going, what the hell is happening? What is this? What's going on? These are going to be things that you have never experienced in your entire life. So that's a big one. So the next one is going to be that on some level, you are going to have this knowing that this person holds a grand purpose in your life, right? This person has come into your life for a reason that is bigger than you, right? So you can feel on some level this connection to them, this pull to them, this draw to them, this recognition, this almost like this merge with them. It's this feeling of, like I say, for me, it just kept being like, who the hell are you? What the hell is going on? What is this? What am I feeling? Why am I feeling this? Right? What's happening? I don't even know you. But at the same time, there was this sense of, but I've always known you. And I know you deeply, and I know you better than I've ever known anyone, vice versa. And so on some level, even when the triggering began, which I'll get into later, on some level, I still knew, and I always knew, this is in my highest good. Whatever's going on here is in my highest good. This is assisting me in some way that now I don't understand through my mind, but I can feel it, right? That's the thing about this path. It's a feeling. It will always be a feeling, and it's a knowing. And I know that doesn't help people because it's just kind of like, well, what the hell, Lalana? What am I supposed to do with that kind of information? I don't know. But if you're on a twin flame path, you will know, because it is something, again, that you can't necessarily put into words. It is just this knowing. It's like, I can't dodge and weave this. Something is going on that is higher than me. And this person is linked to that in some way. And I don't understand it yet, but I know that this is the path that I need to be on, right? That's the other thing. So a grander purpose. So like I said just a minute ago, there's also this sense of feeling like wanting to just sink into them. Like I remember feeling this feeling of wanting to 222, this feeling of wanting to just melt into my twin. I just wanted to just melt into him. I wanted to just completely just merge into him. And you know, the sexual thing is intense and all of that sort of thing, yes. But that's not what I mean. It's this feeling of needing to be home with you again, and on some level in the beginning stages of feeling and that's who that person is. That is who that person is. That is home. That is belonging. But not in this way of feeling oh, well, as soon as we live together, it'll feel like home and I'll feel complete again. This is a feeling I have been displaced somehow from myself within me. And something is going on that is pulling me back to whatever has been missing. And I don't even know what that is because I'm not at that place. I just know that somehow something is pulling me to this person. And I feel like I need to melt into them. I need to become one with them. And again, although in this reality, becoming one with someone is obviously a sexual act, and that is certainly part of the twin flame path without question, and is very magnetizing sexually. It's very explosive sexually with twin. Again, that's not really what I mean. It's this feeling of I have to be back in union. Later on, you realize it's union. I have to be back in union with source, God, creation, you know, unity, love, self, all that is. And my twin is representing that to me. My twin is representing source to me. And at the time, you don't understand that that's what's happening. You don't understand that there's this feeling of, I have actually been away from source, being in this third dimensional separation, you know, reality for however long, lifetimes for most of us. And so a lot of the separation and the void that we feel in this lifetime, and a lot of us the abandonment wounds as well, is a feeling of being abandoned from source, a feeling of being abandoned from God, universe, creation. We don't necessarily know that that's what's happening, but when you meet your twin, you know quick that that's what's happening. Something goes on that you're just like, shit, I have actually been like separate from all that is this whole time. I've been asleep. I've been separate from God all this time. So even if you're religious, even if you're, a devout religion of some sort, this is going to be a different feeling than that as well. It's going to be like coming back home to the universe. It's like coming back home to like everything, to existence. And your twin represents that to you. So there is definitely this feeling of wanting to merge with them, wanting to sink into them, wanting to melt into them. It's like there's this knowing that we're one, that we've always been one, that we are one unified field. So what are you doing over there? Like, why are you over there? Like, you're supposed to be this. And so that's an odd feeling, right? Especially in the beginning where you're just like, you're not really sure what's happening yet. You haven't realized or understood that this has activated an awakening within you. And that's a huge one, but I'll get that one into the next steps and the next stage. Spiritual awakening has to be happening when you're on this path. So the next step, where am I? The next sign. Oh, the differences. Yeah. So there are a lot of differences that are going to go on in regard to your divine counterpart, due to the fact that this is a yin and yang principle, right? These are the polarities. This is a masculine and a feminine energy, not gender specific, that are coming back and merging back into one. I should not say coming back. You're always one. You've always been one. You will always be one. You are never actually in separation, but we are experiencing separation in the 3D, right? We have been in a sleeping state in the 3D. And so as we come back into remembrance, we come back into that knowing of, I am one with all, I am one with everything, including my twin. But in this stage, there are going to be aspects that are going to trigger that unconditional love in a similar way of, this person isn't really my type. Why am I feeling so drawn to them? Why am I so attracted to them if they're not usually the person that I go for? In the similar way, there are other differences that will be coming up for a lot of twins. Age gap is a big one. A difference in age that on some levels and for some twins can be substantial, right? A difference in ethnicity, speaking a different language, being from different countries, having a completely different background, having aspects of like one person potentially could have some sort of like addiction issues. It could be a long distance relationship that you just can't really seem to figure out how to make things work. Things of this nature are going to be present for a lot of twins. And at the same time, and this is the paradox of the twin flame dynamic, you are going to have a ton of similarities. So there are going to be a lot of things that are going on that you feel like, this is too different. We have all of these obstacles in our way. Don't really know how to do this. You live on that side of the country. I live on that side of the country. How are we going to make this work? These sort of things, whatever those might be. But at the same time, there's this deep resonance of, but we seem to have lived parallel lives on some level, right? We seem to have all of these differences and there are all of these obstacles, but at the same time, a lot of twins find that they have lived parallel lives. So we've experienced very similar things around similar times and similar timelines, even though we're on opposite sides of the world, opposite sides of the country, even if we have opposite belief systems or we've been raised in different ways, you're going to have a lot of those parallels that are going on. So this is a big one with twins, and we'll get into mirroring in the next stage. But these are those beginning aspects of that mirroring that's going to be happening on a twin flame dynamic if you're a twin flame. And so the other aspect is and this is bringing in why we're seeing all of these differences and all of these things, is because your higher self is showing you unconditional love. It's showing you that love doesn't have, you know, boundaries that are dictated by which country you live in, or which language you speak, or which religion you know, follow, or what your age is, or what you look like, or what your beliefs are. It's your higher self is literally showing you and reflecting back to you through your twin and you through them that that has nothing to do with love, that that's not what love is about, that love is unconditional, that love doesn't have all of these parameters that the ego is attaching to and saying, well, you know, you live over there and I live over here. Well, you're different this way. Oh, yeah, we have that in common, but I don't really know how this would work anyways, because, you know, I work constantly, you don't really like to work, or I'm super committed in relationships and you're kind of a player, or all of these sort of things are going to be coming up. And like, how are we going to do this? And I don't know that, you know, you're not really my type, but why am I attracted to you though? These things are going to be coming up. But all of these things that the higher self is going to show you, they're all surface level. They're going to feel like they're not surface level for the ego. The ego is going to filter these things as this is a big damn deal. But the higher self is going to push you to realize, no, it isn't actually. Your ego is trying to tell you that these things are more important than what's actually going on within you, right? And that's unconditionality. That's unity. That's unconditional love, right? Which has nothing to do with any of those things. These become escape hatches, and they become distractions, and they become reasons why we can't make things work, right? Because in the beginning stages of coming into a twin flame dynamic, there are going to be a lot of obstacles and a lot of pushback from the ego as to why this doesn't make sense. The ego is going to try to do its best to push things down. He really didn't have that much of a familiar voice. No, not really. I mean, I would have to hear his voice again to really remember. And maybe it wasn't even what I thought it was, right? Oh, I mean, yeah, we had the same eyes. We both had green eyes, but I mean, what does that really mean? Yeah, we have the exact same body type, and I get that. It's fine, but you know, he lives over there and I live over here, and you know, we don't even speak the same language. It's hard for us to even communicate with each other, but I still have this pull. Why do I feel so drawn to this person, right? So you're gonna be in conflict, and that's a big, big thing. You're gonna be in conflict with this, and your ego is gonna do all it can to make you doubt and doubt and doubt. But there's gonna be this higher knowing, that's gonna be this current that's going on the constant time that's telling you, this is more than that though. This is bigger than that though. Something going on here that's bigger than that though. And I don't understand what it is, but there's something going on here that's bigger than what I know. So that's the first stage. I'm going to get into the second stage in the video that's following this one if you guys want to watch. Thanks you guys so much. I appreciate your support on my new channel. You guys have an awesome day.